Welcome back to another episode of the One-on-One Podcast. My name is Josh. I got nothing for you guys today, but let's just do an episode. So I have Kathy, who is joining me virtually, unfortunately. And then I have Ryan, also here in the studio with me.
Fortunately,
always. I love you, Ryan. And we have a really great guest that a lot of our internal network knows and loves. He's a wonderful guy. But before I introduce him, I want to ask the two of you a question that I'm also going to ask our guest, and I think he's going to have a pretty good answer. I'm going to start with my question and answer. So as Ryan and Kathy know, I love movies more than life itself. And there's a movie coming out this Christmas called A Complete Unknown, and it's the story of Bob Dylan, played by Timothée Chalamet. I'm so excited for it. I want to pinch myself. Bob Dylan is my favorite artist of all time. Kathy and Ryan, who would you guys say is your favorite musical artist of all time?
I was like waiting for Kathy's face to see when you asked the question. So it's a hard one.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite artist of all time.
And it can be, sorry, when I say that, it doesn't have to be an individual artist. It could be a band.
Okay.
It could be, like Ryan's might be Backstreet Boys. I'm not sure, but
I like NSYNC better.
Okay, yeah.
No, but mine is Queen.
Oh, that's a good one.
Queen is mine.
That's a good one.
I just like, yeah.
Also, great movie, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes.
Great movie.
It might be Queen. It might be, I got to go back. I mean, I'm a crooner. I go back and I look at like Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
And I love I love some Elvis stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I love Elton John. There are certain artists I don't turn. Elton John, Queen, Billy Joel.
Yeah.
There's certain ones that if you hear it, you go, okay, I need to finish that.
That's a great way. That's a great way to frame that question.
That's how I feel about
It's
Dylan.
like,
Yeah, I never change the song.
You won't change the song if you hear it.
Who would you not change a song on? So that's going to be, and can I just have a moment and say, I wish I could touch your hair? Is that creepy? I don't mean that. I don't mean that like a creepy cougar person. I mean that like I could be your mama and your hair. You've cut your hair and it's just gorgeous.
Thank you, Kathy. It's it took me, I don't want to say my age, but it took me many years to embrace my natural curls, and I finally have.
Oh my gosh, it's just gorgeous.
Thank you.
I used to have curls.
I was about to say that's a great lead-in for our guest.
That's a great lead-in.
On the flip side.
That was intentional, not meant to be hurtful. There you go.
Yeah. All right. I love our guest. We all do. He's our vice president of international. It's Danny Hernandez. And Danny is here to talk all things international. But we also know that he has a background in music. And that was the reason why I asked that question. So, Danny, who is your favorite artist of all time?
Of all time, there's actually two. I grew up hearing Elvis because my mom was in love with Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, as I grew up, Pitbull, all the way.
Yeah.
No way.
Mr. International. Or what is it? Mr. Worldwide?
Mr. Worldwide?
Sorry.
Hey,
That's
Mr.
great.
Rogwide.
Mr. Rogwide.
That makes so much sense now.
Oh, it's so funny. Danny, thank you for joining us. Like, I know this is just going to be a fun episode, but, for the last several years, we've been really preaching that we are not just Realty ONE Group, right? We're Realty ONE Group International. And that is something that is so great for us on the marketing team to be able to use for marketing material. But I really want you to kind of like give us the density behind it. Why did we want to go international? Where did it start? Where are we at now? Where do you see us going? Obviously, for those that read any of our press releases or have any pulse on this company, we are internationally expanding like wildfire. So Danny, if you can give us your thoughts.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. This is a privilege and an honor. But really, it all starts with our founder, Kuba. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he's from Poland. And when we started growing domestically, he had a conversation with Vinny and said, hey, I want to grow internationally. And I remember Vinny telling this story that he's saying, oh, well, not yet.
Yeah.
And it came to a time where they say, okay, now's the time to grow internationally. So it was specific. And we've gone internationally. Now we're going on our fourth year. We're on the end of our third year internationally. And the first 2.5 years, we've gone into 20 countries. Yeah. In 20 months, a country a month, which is something that's never been heard of in the history of any brand.
Yep.
So, and that's without spending really a dime in marketing. It's all word of mouth. People see us online and they love our branding. So that's really I could say it's an honor for me to when I'm speaking with somebody who's interested in knowing about the rights in their particular country, and I usually ask them, why us? That's the first question I ask.
Yeah.
Say, it's your branding, it's your marketing. And I was like, okay. Every single country that I've asked that question, that's the same answer that comes out.
Well, that makes us feel good. Thanks, Danny.
Kudos to these two guys. Yeah, kudos to these two guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and and I can relate to that because it's fresh.
Yeah.
It's new. It's like the new iPhone, but of real estate.
Oh, that's
But
good.
then,
Ooh, I like that.
That's good.
and it segues for me to have these conversations with them and say, it's part of our culture, and that's how I segue. Well, this is who we really are, and what makes us different from the rest of the brands. It's because of that. So super exciting stuff for me, especially.
Kathy, I always use you as in this position because Danny just like alluded to it. You've been with other brands and other brands that are international. How do I say this? We obviously is there something particular other than obviously the marketing branding, but what is truly like the differentiator? Is it the fact that we're louder? Is it the fact that we're a maximalist company? Is it because I know there's something more. Like obviously, like they see Danny's sweatshirt and they're like, okay, this brand is cool. It has something about it. But what else is it that differentiates Realty ONE Group from some of the other big box brokerages?
I think it's the authentic way in which we include them. And what I mean by that is, I think a lot of brands look at the international, and I'm just going to be really blunt. Imagine that. I think a lot of other countries almost look at international growth as a loss leader, meaning we're going to do this because we can say we're international.
Yeah.
I think the feel from Summit, the feel from the things Danny is doing, on the kind of behind the curtain that no one knows, as far as making sure they're included in education, making sure that when we say everyone has a voice, it's everyone internationally. And I think that authenticity of delivering the brand globally is what is setting us apart. And the fact that we are evolutional in that it's revolutional to go to another country. It's evolutional to continue to grow and to make sure that you've got the right master franchisors in place for that.
I can add to that. When I'm speaking with these individuals and these candidates, I tell them we're not a real estate brand. We're a lifestyle brand. It just so happens that we do real estate.
Yeah.
You can see that when I say that I look at their eyes and they're like, wow. And that expression alone just goes a long way.
Let me ask you, Danny, I know he's now recently retired-ish, still part of our board, but tell me what it's like to have Vinny as a mentor, to learn from someone like that, to travel with him and witness just all the, office openings that you guys have witnessed and the people that you've met. Like, just tell me about that sort of experience.
Oh man, it's been a humbling experience. Let me tell you this. I have the privilege to have traveled with Vinny to many, many countries. And his knowledge and his experience, he's known globally.
Yeah.
I mean, globally. And when I'm his sidekick when I go to these travels with him, and to see how people embrace him, like he's the guy, right?
Yeah.
But not only that, I'll give you a perfect experience that I will always remember this for the rest of my life. We were in Portugal, and this is something that I would never forget. We were in Portugal, and we were having dinner with the master in Portugal, which most of you know who he is, Joao. And it was 9:00 at night. And look at this experience, 9:00 at night. And the master said, hey, a buddy of mine owns a brand, and I'm not going to mention the name, not Realty ONE Group, but he's my best friend. Would you mind, let's go into his office just to say hello to him. So we went there, 9:00 at night. Office is jumping, agents are there, office is full. And I was like, wow, at 9 p.m. at night, it looked incredible, right? So we're sitting in the conference room with the owner of that office, and Vinny goes to the owner and he reaches out to him and he says, has the president of your brand ever sat down in this office? And the guy goes, I don't even know who the president is.
Yeah.
He says, well, I'm the president of Realty ONE Group, and I'm sitting in your office.
Yeah. I mean,
Mind you, major brand, a major brand. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, the owner of Master, Joao, called me and says, Danny, the guy paid his way to get out of that other brand, and he signed up with us just
Yeah.
because of that comment.
I I don't want to make this entire episode about Vinny, even though we very easily could. But to your point, Danny, it's like he's such a master with people. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell a quick, Ryan, I've told you this story. I'll tell a quick 5-second story about Vinny. It was actually, so a couple weeks ago when we had base camp, Vinny comes up to me. It's the first time I'd seen him like in person since Summit. So, you know, a very long time, 6-8 months, whatever it is. And at Summit, him and I were having a drink, and I told him my dad had just recently retired and blah, 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 blah. The first thing Vinny says to me when he comes and sits in my office, he says, "Hey, how's your dad doing with retirement?" Like he remembered that. And it was so nice. Like it was just so heartfelt. Like he was listening. He remembered what was going on in my life. And to your point, Danny, like that, I think that is, I guess that was the answer I was getting from Kathy, is it's more than just the marketing and branding. We're a brand that cares.
Yeah. It's all about relationships, right, Kathy?
Yeah, it is about.
Oh, we lost
The
Kathy.
thing I love about Vinny, and I'm not making this up, Vinny will go, Kathy, do you remember December 21st, 3:15 p.m., 1984? And I'm like, actually, I don't. But I mean, his recall,
Yeah.
and that's what makes him a master of relationships.
Yeah.
I think it's just, wow.
So Danny, I want to ask you, without giving anything away, because obviously there's contracts.
Oh, come on, give it up, give it up.
What do you think is the future for Realty ONE Group International? Obviously, we're going to continue growing. Can you give us any sort of hints?
Well, let's just say this. Our goal is to have 30 offices at the end of next year, 2025. Let's just say this. In the past 3 months, I've already completed half of that goal. So I think I'm going to surpass
crazy.
that goal.
Good.
Sandbagger.
Yeah.
Sandbagger.
Well, we're also so excited to have you on because we are also going to be doing an episode and releasing after this one with our friends down in Costa Rica, and who actually are our master franchises for all of Central America and part of the Caribbean. And so to be able to hear their story, and, you know, we all know Jennifer and Sergio very well. They are such great ambassadors of the brand, and we're one of our first international franchises, right, Danny?
Yes, correct. They were the very first one.
The very first one. Okay, so that's and so I'm really encouraging our listeners and our viewers, watch and listen to these next couple episodes, and you'll get a really good taste of how we're not just a domestic brand. We are definitely taking over this world, for lack of other phrases.
And I'm glad that you're bringing this up because our network really needs to know that we are a global brand. We're not just Realty ONE Group. We're Realty ONE Group International.
Yep.
Big difference. So we're adding to what we have here domestically, but internationally. But keep in mind, international real estate is totally different from what we're doing here in the U.S. But they're embracing what we have here. They're embracing the culture. They embrace all of us, and they're like, we want to replicate what you guys are doing in the U.S. and bring it into their own countries.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kathy.
Well, I was just going to say what has been, I mean, I feel like we are the model of the future, not only the brand. From a business perspective, I love the model is so scalable, and it is refreshing to see that the model is scalable and successful internationally. And not all models are, because real estate is so different country to country.
Well, without getting too much into the weeds, that's what I was going to kind of ask is it, so like you obviously are taking something, like from your perspective, Danny, do you have to learn each individual market as you're going and pitching to said country?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We do due diligence every time we get an inquiry. I do my due diligence on that country. How states run? Do you need a license? In most countries, you don't even need a license.
Yep.
There's no global MLS. This buyer broker agreement that we're doing right here in the U.S., that already exists outside the United States. to be honest with you, and I hate to say this, the U.S. real estate market is actually catching up to the rest of the world because it already exists over there.
Interesting. That's really interesting. On that note, Danny, I know you are based in Miami, which is a very, very fun city, and also happens to be the place where we are hosting our 20th anniversary / One Summit International. Danny, can you tell us, for maybe those that have never traveled to Miami, or for those who have never been to a summit, what they can expect?
Okay, great. I'm actually from Orlando, not Miami.
Sorry. Cut that.
But my career started in Miami, so I'm very.
Okay.
I had several offices in Miami, but Summit, it's exciting. Actually, I was last week with Corey and Cuba in Miami, looking at the locations. We finally finalized the locations and how it's going to be all working. Miami's a unique atmosphere. It's the gateway for the rest of the world to come into the United States. Mm-hmm. That's what I always say.
Well, and I know that was part of Cuba's reasoning for wanting us to do it there, is to embrace our international brand.
Yeah, it's because Miami is so multicultural. I believe that the United Nations should actually be in Miami instead of New York. But needless to say, a lot of people from different parts of the world come to Miami because they want to experience the American dream.
Yeah.
And they do so many investments here in the U.S. That's why it's so vital for our network here domestically to get to know our owners internationally, because they do so much business in the U.S. It's incredible. In fact, I'll give you an example. Sergio received a $1.2 million referral from somebody here in the U.S.
Yep.
And he was, I can't believe that this country, which just joined, already received a $1.2 million referral, and vice versa.
So I love what you just said, because Kathy, you and I have been preaching this from the high hills. I really want you to double down on it, Danny. The idea of, if you get just one referral at Summit, your trip is paid for.
Paid for many years.
For many years. And so I really want to encourage our listeners and our viewers. Yes, it's fun. Yes, it's a party. Yes, we have lots of entertainment.
Don't say it.
Lots of entertainment and things happening. But it is so, so, so beneficial to your career as well. It's a work hard, play hard situation.
Well, let me give you a little teaser on Summit. We're kind of, because it's the 20th anniversary, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but sometimes
if not, we'll just cut it. Go ahead.
This summit for 2025 is going to be more, work, more workshop, more than anything else.
Yep.
We have a few speakers. It's more about education. Kathy's going to have her hands full with Summit for 2025. So be prepared that it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more workshops. It's more education, just because of the economics of what's going on in the U.S. and all our realtors. So be prepared for that.
Hey, I'm feeling a little FOMO here, because I feel like the three of you know things I don't know that I probably should know, but I also know that you won't tell me because I can't keep a secret. So I'm sitting here just struggling with this.
I mean, I will be honest, Kathy, this is going to be tough for me as we continue to do these episodes leading up to Summit, as we get more information, to not be able to share.
Don't tell me.
Yeah.
Do not tell me.
I'll have to be doing a lot of bleeping out for these episodes.
Oh, that's actually not a bad idea. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
A lot of cutting.
Yeah.
And Miami's going to be exciting. Perfect time of year. It's in November, obviously, from the 2nd to 5th. This is the perfect opportunity to get to know these international attendees. And we're going to have much more attend in Miami than in what we have in Vegas.
Yeah.
So be prepared.
Yeah. And we all speak the same universal language of ROG. I hate to be as corny as that, but it is the truth. It's a universal language.
It truly is. It truly is. I always say that we take the word culture and we put cool and then culture together, and it just matches internationally. Can't. And we talk about our 6 C's, which I learned that from Kathy when I first started.
Yeah.
And every brand can copy any of our 6 C's, but that particular C, they can't copy culture.
No, you can't. I mean, even though we write out the definition of it, it's our actions. It's how we live and breathe it that truly show what it is. And I will be honest, if Cuba's listening, he's going to kill me for saying this, because when I started at this brand, my background's in writing, and I see this, and I'm hired to basically do all the content for this company, and I see this word, I'm like, that's not a word. Like that's not a word. And it took me a while to be able to use it and say it. And now it really does. Like it's just part of the Realty ONE Group zeitgeist. I don't know how else to say it. It really is.
It's our secret sauce.
It's our secret sauce. It is. Well, Danny, thank you for joining us. This is I think it gives our listeners a little glimpse into how we are an international brand. And it's not just, oh, Realty ONE Group's in Canada. Like, no, we're in 22 countries and counting. And you are a huge part of that. So we want to thank you for that. And continuing to grow our international family. So seriously, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Stay tuned for the next couple of weeks. We're going to announce 3 additional countries. They're going to be really exciting. In the next 60 days, I'll give you a teaser. We're going to announce some major countries.
Oh, that's more press releases for me to edit. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Danny. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Danny. We love you.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the One-on-One podcast, powered by Realty ONE Group. For more information, questions, or concerns, please reach out to coaching@realtyonegroup.com.